right, I gotta do this.
All right, yeah, focus. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I'll not do it because I'm out of sync with you.
I mean, I'm gonna be honest. I can't hear it very well anyway, and also the mastering on the HD collection is a little bit poor. Whoops.
Ooh, achoo.
Anyway,
oh, that turtle got blowed up. Whoa, that poor turtle.
This reminds me of
Sly!
the
That was my
Ryan voiced
cousin!
mosquito. Oh no! Oh no! Yeah, can we talk about the implications of that?
Yeah,
Is this a skeleton turtle?
I think
It
it's
looks like a skeleton turtle.
That's my dad. This is why I was in the orphanage. Is that chicken like repeatedly laying eggs that are breaking?
Yeah,
on
no,
the
they're repeatedly
There's-
pooping out.
So much disturbing imagery for like a children's game here.
Well, it is a voodoo level.
Yeah, I know. I
So
mean,
I
they
guess-
did a good job with it.
Holy moly!
Good luck
Some of it
breaking
is
up
like
that conversation.
crazily offbeat. Oh my god,
Ooh.
this is
Yeah.
wild. Goodbye. I like the little hat,
hat,
salute he
yeah.
does.
It's been
Very
a pleasure.
charming.
It's been a pleasure playing with you, gentlemen.
Well, I was gonna say something. I forgot what it was. Oh, I was gonna do a Bentley joke, but the time is gone.
The time has passed.
The time has passed.
This is why I'm an orphan.
It's me, Bentley, master of. I can't hit it.
Oh my gosh.
It's not letting me. Oh dear.
Yeah.
Oh,
See, I'm watching it on this like low frame rate, low resolution, like laggy version.
yeah.
And so what I'm seeing is just
It's like-
like choppy, like random rhythms that are just like, it's like, dun, 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 dun. And I'm like,
Yeah,
whoa,
well,
whoa.
I'm gonna be honest. It doesn't feel very on beat anyway, so you're not even far off.
Remember the last one is gonna be an X.
Yep. It also really doesn't register my. Ooh, good.
Good, fun.
Good stuff. Oh, cool.
Fun.
I got a second chance.
A second. Yeah, watch out
Cute,
for that
man.
booty.
I'm gonna watch out for the booty. I don't want to get slapped by a booty. At least not right now.
Now, the funny thing about these like rhythm sections is they do incorporate them into later games, but in a much more entertaining way.
Yeah, like the dance.
Yeah, the dance and the opera sing off with Bentley. Oh, I love that one so much.
Oh, I forgot about the. Yeah, that one's so good. I can't wait to get to that.
And he just sounds like a Vocaloid
Yeah.
turtle man. Oh, I love that game. That's 3. I was saying this the other day. Is Sly 1 is the first one. Sly 2 is the best Sly Cooper game, and Sly 3 is the best game.
Yeah. I
Because
I
Sly
can see
3,
that.
yeah, Sly 3 goes on so many little journeys, and there's such a
Whoa.
diversity of gameplay. Like there's
Yeah.
the pirate ships and the airplanes and the little tanks and the RC cars and the scuba diving. Like there's so many
Yeah.
different kinds of games involved in it that it's just so much fun.
A lot of fan service bringing back the characters too.
Yeah, absolutely. But then Sly 2 is the one that when I'm like, what is a Sly Cooper game? Sly
Yeah.
2 comes to mind. Because Sly 3
That was the purest like
yeah.
realization of the truest form of this concept.
Absolutely. And I thought they did a really cool thing in Sly 2 where they got rid of the like, you don't get techniques from the bottles and the safes. What you get is like valuables, which is like
Yeah.
makes sense what would be stored in a safe.
Right.
And then you can sell those and buy techniques, which is really cool.
Yeah,
I,
that is
I think the
very
economy
good.
they put in the second one is a lot better too. So. Sorry, I cut you
Didn't
off.
they removed clue bottles from the third one,
Third
right?
one, yeah. They removed
And they
clue
brought them
bottles.
back for 4.
Did they? I still fucking haven't played 4 because I don't own a goddamn PS3. One day I'll just like find a $3 PS3 that
Yeah.
has like one game left in it. Like
I reclaimed a PS2 for $60 on eBay. So
Damn. Yeah, I should make a
if
journey.
you look in the right places, wow,
Over
yeah,
to
I'm not doing
yonder.
good this time. Not
Well, the
doing good
lucky
on
thing
this
with
one.
boss fights is like it don't matter.
Right. It doesn't matter now what happened. I will never give up the fight. That's Sonic's song.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, tell me about Sonic the Hedgehog, Penny.
What do you want to know about him, Haley?
Just like I want you to like explain to me on a deep spiritual level your connection with Sonic T Hedgehog.
Well, I hated him at first. When I was a kid, this is true. I started with Shadow the Hedgehog. My old friends introduced me to that game specifically, and we were edgy kids, so they were like, "Oh, it's so cool! It's like this video game where like you can like run on walls and like shoot guns and stuff."
Awesome.
And then in that game, Sonic the Hedgehog is a side character. And he appears in the first level, and he's much more of like a cameo than he is like a character in the game. So I was just like, man, this bitch is annoying. I was like, I hate this guy. Like his voice sucks.
You're
His
too slow.
Yeah, he's too happy. Like he's just like, oh, about friendship and stuff. Like, no, I want to shoot my guns and play as this is who I am. So hated Sonic. And then Sonic 06 was being advertised, and I was like, I want to play that game. And I never played that game because I didn't have a PS3 in 2006. And then I can't remember. I think the first Sonic game I ever truly gave a chance after that was Sonic Unleashed on the Wii. And I was like, oh, okay, hold on. I was like, wait a minute. Hold on. Because the intro cutscene to that game is masterful.
Oh.
And as a kid who was still looking for like action-packed like justification to like the things that I like, that was like nectar for me. It was just so good.
Yes, nectar
so
for
well
the
animated,
gods.
so action-packed, very very fast, lots of explosions and stuff. And I still love it to this day. I still think it is one of the best visual things that Sonic has ever been in. It is just like a perfect distillation of the appeal of the constant battle between him and Eggman, and like it is one of the most perfect representations of the intensity and potential of his powers. So good. It's so good. So I played that game, and I really enjoyed that game. I played the Wii version of Sonic Unleashed. Like everyone else, I thought the day stages were the best. And then at that point forward, it was just like a sort of slow, dear God, it was just like a slow immersion into like the universe, and like I started to look more into the characters and like the history and stuff, and I just sort of gotten more and more. I like played the first Genesis game on like an emulator because I had realized it was like a really old series. And then, yeah, and so I guess the rest is history in the sense that, like, I've just figured out more and more about the series and, like, found new and more things to love about it over time. And, like, just the potential of the characters in the world, like, when they're done right, it is, like, it's like I have a hard time talking about it, right? Because, like, I know there's something about it that resonates so deeply with me, but I have yet to find the words to describe what it is, and I always bring back the term potential, and I don't really know how to describe or justify that, but it's like I love the characters at their best. I think that it is such a pleasant world to be in, and like such pure pleasant dynamics with each other. Like the character dynamics and like the character archetypes are like pretty simple, but they also feel unique in spite of that. When they're done well, that is to say. Like the Sonic comics, especially the current run that I started reading recently, the IDW comics, which is pretty fresh, so there's not a lot to catch up on, but like, I just love the way that these characters have the potential to be written, and like, they're just all good friends, and like, they're kind of snarky, but like, not always in a mean-spirited way, and they're just like, they're kind of cheeky with each other, and like Eggman's a very appealing villain in that he's very over the top and goofy, but he also has the potential to be very dark and sinister. And I like how the aesthetic of the games from the very beginning is very one of a kind, in the sense that you like in the first game and pretty much all the classic games, you have like this this very clear divide and like battle going on between like nature and technology, because like Sonic and his friends all represent like nature and like they're all about like the animals and like preserving like natural life and stuff, and then Eggman is just like this very invasive wannabe overlord that
this
comes
section
in.
of the game is so brutal.
Yeah, I'm not doing good right now. I feel like I'm personally just bad at it, but also I'm talking over the rhythm game, so that could have something to do with it. But anyway, yeah, so like Eggman is like this very invasive, trapping all the little animals in his robots to power them and attack Sonic and stuff. And like it's a very defiant spirit that the core of the series has, that I honestly think it's kind of lost over time, but you can definitely feel it in the earlier games, because Sonic has always, sometimes notoriously, but endearingly in the first few games, had like a very rowdy 90s attitude to him. And he's very defiant, and he's very like sure of himself. And I'm kind of just rambling at this point, but I really am trying to like figure out how to talk about what exactly it is that appeals to me so much.
You like it, like it speaks to you, it resonates with you, you enjoy the story, and I think that's perfectly valid. It's it's just, it's a shame what people have done to the universe, the Sonic universe, and I don't mean like, the obvious like haha DeviantArt,
right,
but like I mean like what people have like taken the stories and like twisted them, and the people who are supposed to be taking care of these characters. Yeah,
and it's become very confused because of it. There really is no sense of cohesion a lot of the times between the games and like between the kind of tones and stories, or even like what the world is. Like it's been so long since I think anyone, even the creators, have been confident like, what is this world? What's the name of this world? Who inhabits this world? What kind of people inhabit this world? What's the geography like? Like, what's the climate like in certain areas? Like, that kind of thing. And obviously, that's, like, pretty in-depth stuff, but it's, like, it's stuff that you gotta know if you're, like, building a franchise of this size. And it's, like, they just haven't really... They put in the legwork at the beginning, but they haven't stayed committed to that vision is the thing, because it's just been passed around so many different hands. I mean, and like I said, like tonally, it's so confused, and that's apparent. People recognize that fact all the time. I don't really have to go into examples of that, but like, I always say like one of the worst decisions that the Sonic series made was hiring writers that, one, didn't really understand deeply or care about Sonic deeply to the extent that they would need to carry on the vision of the original games, but also who would put much more emphasis on making it very shallow Saturday morning cartoon style plots and dialogue and world building and stuff. Like, right. Sonic Lost World is one of the most poorly written pieces of text I have ever experienced. Not just games, like, it's so poorly done. I hate it more than any other piece of Sonic media I have ever witnessed. Like, including Sonic Boom, including Sonic 06, like, all those notoriously bad games, none of them have touched the amount of wrath I feel towards Sonic Lost World, because everyone in that game is just... it's like they were possessed by a bitch demon. Every single one of them is just horrible to each other and like everyone's mean and sarcastic, and it's like they don't have any other facet to their personality past that, and I hated every second of it. And, you know, that's not even to mention that the game itself is very dull, but that's a whole different conversation.
There's
but, like...
nothing worse than, like, writers handling the characters you love just so poorly. Especially, like, it's one thing if it's, like, you know, somebody who, like, deeply used to care and clearly stopped caring. And, like... But it's another thing if it's, like, just a whole other team, and it's like, you had a responsibility to, like...
Yeah, well, and it's just their job. It's just they didn't seem to care from the beginning. It's just a job to them, which, like, yeah, you gotta put bread on the table. I get that. That's not bad in and of itself, but, like, if you're hired onto a job of this scope and, like, of this importance, like, recognize that importance. Put in the legwork. Figure out what people like and want to see with this character, and, like, what you can do to actually strengthen the identity of the world you're contributing to, and not just... Also, I did it, by the way. And not just shallowing it down to self-awareness, which is all they've been striving for, which is good in doses, but not when it's your core identity, because there's nothing else to be aware of than how self-aware you are if that's all you're focused on.
Right.
Which is just a horrible cycle to be in.
My first experience with Sonic the Hedgehog was in the background of a Bill Nye short where they were at E3 and there was a large plastic statue of Sonic the Hedgehog above the Sega Pavilion.
Damn. The good old days.
I remember later I saw a Sonic game, or I think I saw, it was Sonic X. Sonic, is that's the cartoon, right?
The anime?
Yeah. I
Yeah,
saw
Sonic
Sonic X on, like, WB in the morning one day.
Yeah.
And I was like, ain't that guy from the Bill Nye thing?
Yeah. I know that guy.
I know that guy. And then I loved it. I fell in love with that cartoon. I really did, honestly.
Yeah,
I was super into Sonic X.
I never watched all of Sonic X, but when I did, I loved it too. It has its ups and downs, but it could be quite good.
Yeah.
It's just extra frustrating that I've seen the characters written so well. Like I mentioned, the comics are really good. Like they genuinely have a very good understanding of the appeal of the character and like how to balance the inherent snark and attitude that they have with like genuine relationship and friendship and stuff. Like there's a whole issue early in the comic where in the IDW run where most of the comic is Sonic and Amy having a conversation in the middle of a battle, but the battle takes second billing, I guess is how I'm gonna describe this. The battle is in the background, and like the forefront of the comic, the focus of it is this conversation between the two. Amy is trying to convince Sonic to come back and help like this resistance effort that they've been it continues the story of Sonic Forces, which is essentially Eggman succeeds in taking over the world.
Right.
And I'm just gonna keep playing, by the way. Eggman succeeds in taking over the world, and they have to fight back with like a resistance team. But it continues the story from that, and the comic is just Amy trying to convince Sonic to come back and like help them out instead of going and doing his own thing and helping out people around the world. Like, and it's just very appealing because it's just character interaction, and it's like you understand the appeal of who they are, and it's just very nice to read because it's like you get, oh, these are friends with like an existing relationship, and like they're just trying to make the best of this situation and like trying to appeal to one another's sensibilities, and like Sonic's being very sort of like humorously like defiant about not wanting to come back and like making excuses like, oh, well, if this thing is going on, then like why don't you just do this, and like that kind of thing. Like it's so nice, it's so well done, and like I just wish that more of that was in the mainline stuff, because obviously that's like spin-off stuff, so not a lot of people pay attention to that stuff.
You know, I think
'Cause-
it ties in with everything, like all of it, right? Is this idea of like the self-inserts and the Sonic OCs and the
right.
all that stuff. I think it's like what you're getting at here is that like they have such a genuine like friendship. They have such a genuine relationship that just seems so positive and good. And like the story is good and it's compelling and it like frames them as the good guys, especially in like everybody's a sucker for a resistance movement, right?
Yeah.
And like
It's well done.
also if you hold circle when you're on the ground,
Ooh.
turn invisible.
Sneaky, sneaky.
Oh
Oh, no, it didn't work.
It doesn't work if they already
I was
saw
already
you.
spotted. Yeah.
At that point, you just crouched down like, they don't see
Yeah.
me.
He was making the jokes. Okay.
But yeah, I think the reason people want to like insert themselves into this thing is because they want to be a part of it. You know, they just want to be a part of the fun and the action and the friendship, because
Yeah.
at the end of it, like, you know, let's look at their core audience. It's introverts, you know, it's people who are,
Right.
it's gamers. And
It's
like,
gamers, yeah.
so like, of course, oh Jesus, oh God,
Lord.
oh God in
Yeah.
heaven.
Well, and like I said, it's a very appealing world anyway. Like the aesthetic and the just the feel of the world is so appealing to me, and it's so unique to Sonic. Like when people recognize the kind of world design and world aesthetic and appeal that the early games had going on, and like adapt that to a modern day like format, it's gorgeous, it's beautiful, and it's like it's just unique. It's unique, and it's like it gives me a feeling and a sense like nothing else does. And you know, and nowadays, not a lot of things can do that. Like a lot of stuff nowadays feels very similar. There's a lot of formulas and tropes and cliches and like
kinda
very
empty.
derivative works, and like yeah, lots of things feel empty. Just people trying to capitalize on the success of other people. And
there's-
Sonic the Hedgehog, for all its faults, has always, not always, but at its best, has a very unique sense of uniqueness, if that makes any sense.
No, yeah,
But
absolutely.
anyway. Oh no! Oh.
Well, so we got a couple other things in here besides Jerry Golb, and
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of when, I mean, like, especially shit that like people like actively hate on constantly. Oh, I love these.
Me too. You're very nice.
Yay! But things that people actively hate on like regularly, like Sonic. I love hearing the reason why. Like, why is it still around? Who likes this shit? It's clearly it has a reason, you know. Like there's a reason
clearly
for
there's
the sequel.
something there, and yeah, and I made a tweet about this the day that the Sonic movie came out, because as you can imagine, my feelings were intense that day. But I made a tweet about this, and it was making the rounds because I feel like a lot of people agree. One of the biggest reasons I think that it's lasted this long is not because of like ignorance, or like not because of like, oh, it's like an abusive relationship like people say all the time. It's like it's because there have been glimmers of hope and like glimmers of care and like glimmers of like seeing the potential of what it could be if more people gave it the love and care that it needs to be. That like games like Sonic Mania, things like the IDW comic series, like stuff like that, like there is potential there, and like the fans who stick around this long are the fans, I believe, who saw that at one point, whatever it was and whenever it was, and latched onto it, and regardless of every other trash fire that's come out, have felt like, I saw this one time somewhere, I know what this can be, and I know what this is at its best, and I just hope that if I stick around long enough, and if enough people stick around long enough, then more people will start to understand what this could be like I do. And that's why I hold out hope that some person is gonna be given the reins and actually knows what they're doing. At least that's how I feel, and that's why I stick around. Because it's not easy. It is not an easy thing.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Proclaiming how much you love something that only seems to be shit on, not only by culture, but like by its own creators just through apathy. Yeah, it's a can of worms. It's a can of worms. Oh Lord. Oh God. Okay. Oh, hi
Ooh,
there.
tricky.
Someone came to make a friend.
You know what?
What?
I was thinking to
What?
myself, and I was like, I don't feel like I have a game or like media of some sort that like I feel like got shafted in the same way that Sonic did. And then I was thinking about it, and I was like, fucking Star Fox.
Oh yeah.
Star Fox had a great game on the SNES, right? And that was all cool, vector graphics and blah 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 blah. And
then the
like,
second game died.
Yeah, and then the second game died. But that, you know, because they were like, let's just move this over to the N64, right? And so they moved it over to the N64, and Star Fox 64 is an unbridled masterpiece.
Yeah.
And like, I absolutely adore it. And then Star Fox Adventures came out. And here's a fucking hot take. Star Fox Adventures is a great idea. And like a lot of people hate that game, right? But
right, well, it's because it's not a Star Fox game, right? Like it started as another game,
yes,
and then they applied the skin to it, which
yes, and
can
like
be hit or miss with people.
Here's the thing, right? We've seen Star Fox, we've seen Fox McCloud on his feet only in Smash Brothers, right? Like that's the only place we've ever seen him on his feet, and like the whole squad, right? And this, like, Star Fox Adventures could have been so much more than just like dinosaur Adventure Time, which like also like that game was not that bad. Like a lot of people give it a lot of crap, and like yes, they took a lot of shortcuts because of like budgets and all that stuff, and you know it could have had a lot more care put into it, and they didn't put it in. And but like on the whole, I had good memories of that game. It was challenging, it was fun, it had a diverse gameplay, it had an interesting plot line, it had cool character designs, like it was the music was really fun, and like the world they were building was really cool, and like I just like people just, it's such a meme to dunk on it, and like it was a disappointing Star Fox game, but like, you know, I don't know why Nintendo just dropped this franchise, just like dropped it like a bad habit for like 12 years until the Wii, and then they came out with the Star Fox for the Wii U. No, it was for the Wii U. They came out with Star Fox for the Wii U, and I think there was a couple DS games in there.
Like Star Fox Assault and stuff. But I think you're right. The next big game was the one for Wii U, Zero, I think.
Yes, Star Fox Zero, and they like messed it up apparently. Like I haven't played it.
People didn't like that one apparently. Yeah,
people really didn't like that one.
I think a big thing with that one was forced motion controls, and they just didn't work well.
Yeah, and
also it was like generally a remake of Star Fox 64.
Yeah, and like it's just what more do you want than like cool characters who also like fly spaceships, are part robot and have guns, and like your bad guy is a freaking like monkey android like AI who wants to destroy the world, and you have a dad character that's like, you're make me proud, son, and like there's like history with like one of your wingmen worked with your dad, and like there's Slippy, and you could watch this kid grow up and like become less incompetent, and like you have Falco who's just like a sexy bird guy, and like what more do you want in a franchise than freaking Star Fox? And they made like one bad game that like people didn't like. They made one decent game that people didn't like. And because they took shortcuts on it and they didn't treat their property well with responsibility. And then they just decided like, oh, well, that's it for Star Fox.
Yep,
except in Smash Brothers, because we can't get rid of him in Smash Brothers because people main him. Like... What? And then like, oh God in heaven, and then they come out with this other thing and they hype it up like, we're bringing back freaking Star Fox, and everyone's like, oh hell yeah, we bringing back Star Fox? I'm so excited for you to bring back my favorite game franchise. And then they like half-ass it so hard and just use it as like an excuse to exploit their weird broken system, and they were just like, well, all right, well, we're never gonna make another one, sorry you didn't like it. And it's like, that's not what we were talking about. We didn't say don't ever make another Star Fox game, we said don't make
Just
garbage.
Don't make one like. God, yeah, oh God, yeah. I all these feelings intensely relatable. Like, it's just like, yeah, no, it's like, it's people at the top make bad, blind, tone-deaf decisions about their I did a really bad thing there. About their properties, and then when people don't like it, they blame the property. And they say, like, oh, people didn't like the Star Fox game? We can listen to the reasons why they didn't like it, or we can assume that it's just because Star Fox isn't worth pursuing anymore.
Best move here is just, you can go under those trees, I think, those little shrubs. Oh, no, I was wrong. You can turn invisible here, though. But if you get all the bottles, and rush back to the safe.
That's what I was
you
trying to go foremost.
You get the upgrade to your invisibility, which I believe makes you walk invisibly. You can, like, sneaky sneak while still invisible, which
sounds incredible.
Yeah, you don't have to, like, sit still while that's happening. I think that's this one.
Press
If
circle
you have all
button
the
to
safe
sit still so you can input this code. You stupid idiot! You have a glowing horseshoe on your back. How do you think people are not gonna notice you? You're a terrible thief. You're wearing bright blue and yellow.
Sorry,
You stupid idiot!
like, so mean, Billy.
You sugar plum fairy! You sugar plum fairy!
I mean, but yeah, I mean, like, I want another walking around Star Fox. I don't think that was a flawed idea. I just would love to see them on the ground in, like, Corneria, and, like, Andros. Here's my pitch. Andros is, like, taking over the galaxy, right? And Star Fox was taken, like, on a blind side. And you do this all through a cutscene in the beginning, right? Star Fox failed. They were not able to save the galaxy, and Andros took over every planet in the solar system, right? And now we're fucked. And so there is now an underground movement led by Star Fox to go and, like, take over, like, fight back against the Andros, like, forces and liberate the planets one by one, but they can't do it in their ships because they were destroyed by Andros, and they have to get to a certain planet to get their ships back from Starwolf and, like, convince them to work with them. So now they're flying not the R-Wings from the normal Star Fox, but they're flying the Team Starwolf's fighters, and they have to use those to fight their own ships against them, and maybe, like, Falco decided to turn tail and become a bad guy, and everyone's like, why'd you do that? And then they have to convince him to come back, but now there's bad blood, right? And so it becomes this, like, stealthy, Solid Snake sort of, like, you know, liberation movement where it's Star Fox and co fighting. Maybe Slippy dies. Like, I don't know. Like, have some creativity. Use these characters.
Yeah.
Use the actual antagonist of this series. Use the guilt of losing your father. You know, like, use this whole thing. Like, maybe it's not Slippy that dies. Maybe Peppy dies, right? Peppy Hare.
Yeah.
And that's the last connection to Star Fox's father, and he just can't handle the fact that, like, now that's the only person who remembered his father besides him, and now his father's truly dead. You know, like, there's just so much to this, like, saga. There's a lot of emotion there, and you can have so much fun, because, like, you have a property where they fly spaceships with laser beams to save planets, and you already established they have robot legs and guns. Make a video game.
Yeah. God.
I'm sorry.
I know, it's so the feeling is so real. I just want to throw in my constant narrative is that I feel like a well done open world Sonic the Hedgehog RPG would be one of the best things in the world.
Yeah. Where you could actually roll around at the speed of sound.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and like, yeah, like you think like, what? You have a character who's known for, whose main thing is that he's able to cross large distances in a short amount of time. How about you make a game where the map
large
is a large
distances.
distance? The map is a singular large distance that you can cross in a short amount of time, and you go around and you can pick up quests from other little animal characters. And, like, you can actually, like, go and find, like, ruins within the world that contain the Chaos Emeralds, and you're not, like, directed to them. It's like a secret you have to find in the game. Like, if you find the right clues and find the right things in the world, you can literally, like, Breath of the Wild style, uncover these ancient ruins that contain the most powerful relics in the world, and it's like an actual reward. And if you get enough of them for exploring and looking enough, you can turn into Supersonic.
Yeah, and then like also at the same time, right? Like there's also Eggman's troops also looking for the Chaos Emeralds, and you're like in an actual race against time, and every time you get a Chaos Emerald, all of a sudden you hear Eggman is on the trail of another one, and you're constantly racing back and forth, and that's why you have to go fast, because you're Sonic the fucking Hedgehog!
And like, to continue the Breath of the Wild comparison, imagine if Eggman's robots had the same intimidation factor and like widespread destruction of like the Guardians in Breath of the Wild. Like,
the divine
imagine
beasts.
if they were that scary. Oh my god. Thanks for watching SnapCube, everybody.
Jesus Christ.
Video games suck. Yeah, okay. I'm gonna stop. No, it's cool. I was just, if we were gonna go further, I didn't want to leave it at the pause screen for too long.